Ladies and gentlemen, politics is a very interesting game. Yesterday, Raila Odinga kicked out ODM rebel MPs from the party. And today, majority of UDA supporters and leaders were actually crying more than the bereaved ODM party. And what caught my attention was this post by Cherargei. Let me just read it for you. I am offering my esteemed legal services to all expelled ODM MPs to fight this threat of reverse gain of democracy, rule of law, freedom of association, and political freedom. Basically, Cherargei is offering his legal services to all ODM rebel MPs. This is what I want us to discuss. But first of all, let me try and figure out what this gentleman is trying to say. That is offering his legal services to fight threat of reverse gains of democracy. Sometimes when I see certain individuals talk about democracy, I just wonder. There is what is called political conmanship in this Republic of Kenya. It must come to an end. There is no way you can go to your people, ask them to vote for you because you are going to stand by that party. Then immediately you are elected, you dump that party. That is something weird. In fact, the framers of our constitution were very clear that if you're not comfortable in a party, then the best thing you do, you run as independent candidate. During the last election, I think Kenyans elected record independent candidates. And those are the candidates who really understood the concept. But in most cases, they even never understood the concept. Most of them ran as independent, probably because the party they chose, either they were denied a ticket or something like that. And then he's also talking of the rule of law. The rule of law is very clear, in my view, that nobody should belong to two political parties. And that the moment you advocate and advance the interest of another political party, then you should desist from being a member of another party. In fact, that's the confusion we are witnessing today, where Sabina Chege has left Azimio, which was a coalition, opposition coalition, and she's still clinging to the position of minority whip. Those things should not be allowed. The only UDA member of parliament, senator, who has disagreed with Sabina Chege on that is Boni Alwale, who has maintained that as long as you want to join Jubilee Party, Kenya Kwanzaa, then it means you are going to form majority. And therefore you cannot claim minority. It's that simple. And I've read through that statement by Cherargei, and there's also another member of parliament who was today on TV, another Mount Kenya member of parliament who was talking about how he is going to offer his legal services to ODM members of parliament. You see, these members of parliament from UDA, some of them cannot even speak. The other day you saw the Githunguri member of parliament, wa Muchomba, talking about one man, one vote, 1 shilling. What do you think happened to her? She was gagged. She pushed on. The next day, you saw William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua, marshalling the entire Kenya Kwanzaa brigades to her constituency, just to punish her. So for me, that's not important. What I want to tell you in this video is that the move by Cherargei or Kenya Kwanzaa is actually going to backfire on them. And not them only, but specifically on the ODM rebel MPs. That is exactly what I want to explain in this video. So I'll want to ask you to spare a few minutes. I'm not going to take much today. Why do I believe that the move by Kenya Kwanzaa, specifically UDA party, to offer the alleged legal services is going to backfire on rebel MPs? Number one, it's going to vindicate ODM claim that the rebel MPs are actually working with UDA. That they're not just doing things because they are Democrats. Then why would, for example, a senator in Kenya Kwanzaa decide to offer legal services to ODM party? Remember, during the disciplinary process, what happened was that Ojienda came with UDA lawyers. And then these guys said, we don't want UDA lawyers because we know their stand. please come with any other lawyer but not non-UDA lawyers. Then Ojienda said for him, he was not going to be grilled by any member of the disciplinary committee because those were junior to him. So that level, then you now come and ask Cherargei, whose legal profession, for example, after college, I don't know the legal firm he worked for or any high profile case he won, then he is representing you. So for me, it's going to vindicate Raila Odinga and ODM supporters that these guys were being sponsored or are working for UDA party. Number two, it's actually also going to set a stage for ODM versus UDA politics in Nyanza. And probably that's what Raila Odinga and Azimio are praying for. That, make it. We had the rebels who are saying, us, we are in ODM, we are being victimized. Then now, the people representing them are UDA lawyers. Then we have a funeral or we have an event in Nyanza where we have both the rebel MPs and just ordinary ODM supporters there. What will they tell them? It's going to be turned into UDA versus ODM contest. And you can guess how it's going to turn out. Because, Raila Odinga is very smart. There is no way. I've seen people say, oh, Raila Odinga is targeting only Luo MPs for expulsion. That's not the truth. The truth is charity begins at home. And if anything, if you look at the history of expulsion, Ruto was expelled from ODM. Ababu was expelled from ODM. Were they Luos? No. So saying that they are targeting Luos does not hold any water. But for me, I tend to think that by allowing these guys to sponsor them, it's going to set the stage for ODM versus UDA party. If these guys were wise enough, then they would have thought about another strategy, either run as independent or maybe identify another political party. Because if you ask me, these 5 members of parliament, even if you add them together, they can't even make Rafael Tuju. What do you tell me about Rafael Tuju? What do you know about Rafael Tuju after opposing Raila Odinga? Was sent home. Number 3, it's also going to paint the rebels as UDA sympathizers. And of course, just like I said earlier, it's going to vindicate Azimio. Then everywhere they will go, they'll be viewed as UDA representatives. So for me, if Ruto was wise enough to deal with this issue, he should have chosen a different path. Because I've always told you here that Luos are a bit different from Kikuyus. Ruto was able to manipulate the Kikuyus. That's not going to happen with the Luos. The Luos will always think politically first before making any move. So Luos, you can't just come and tell them, oh, Raila is, you leave ODM, then you succeed. There is no way you can compare Ochanda with Ruto. There is no way you can compare, for example, Jalang'o with Ruto. No way. And of course, if anything, Ruto left ODM and formed this party. This is what these guys are failing to do. And number 4, if you ask me, there is the bipartisan talks, which are currently ongoing. One of the issues in the bipartisan talks is the issue of respect for parties. You must respect other political parties. Now we are here, Ruto and his team offering legal services. Of course, they will offer their legal services, probably even negotiate through court process. The truth is, these members of parliament are going to stay for 5 years. I mean, they're going to serve their remainder of the term. ODM is aware of that. There is no way these guys will be kicked out because the judiciary is already captured. ODM will not succeed in kicking them out. They just want that process to go like that. But the fact is, the bipartisan talks is going to be in dilemma. Because if these leaders were to be represented by the legal team from UDA party, then it would also amount to interference. And of course, lastly, the win. Assuming these guys will go to court and then they secure victory in court, who will believe that victory? Nobody will believe the victory. Most people will just conclude that the victory by the rebels in court is as a result of political influence of William Samoei Arap Ruto and Kenya Kwanza government. And therefore, they will be waited. People will be waiting for them at the ballot. If I were these guys, I would call for a press conference the next day and dissociate ourselves with any UDA affiliate lawyer and stick to what they were maintaining before. That their meeting with Ruto had nothing to do with ODM, it had nothing to do with Jubilee. I mean, with the UDA and ODM. It was purely about members of parliament, representative of the people, and the head of state, who is the president of the Republic of Kenya, a symbol of national unity. But the moment this UDA will come in, thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.